All right, hey folks. Goodness. So I did my video a little bit ago, and I don't know if this is too loud. Somebody give me an idea of if it's too loud. I had to run to the Wally World and get me a little bit of a mic since the boom mic went out and the last one went to shit real quick. Really quick. While I was at the local Walmart, of course, Tornado Watch hits everybody's phone and whatnot, including mine. And I didn't even see that it got labeled PDS. So since it got labeled PDS, I'm going to go ahead and come on and do one of these because that kind of shocked the shit out of me. I knew that one was coming. We all knew that a tornado watch was coming later today. And if you did watch my analysis a little bit ago, it was a long-winded 21 minutes, but shit happens. And I basically was sitting there talking about how if the supercell development that is going to occur or is not going to occur in Arkansas, that would play into a huge factor of if we got added into this first watch or the watch that would come later for the QLCS, the squall line, so to speak, that's going to come through later today once all that decides to cluster up. But this went so far enough south that this included us. Now, granted, Shelby County is Shelby, Tipton, Crittenden, DeSoto, you're not in this. But Shelby, Tipton, Fayette, DeSoto, you're the only one out. But don't worry, DeSoto, yours is coming. It's just going to be coming later in the day. So with the setup that is going on right now, let me pull back and go to the Storm Prediction Center's actual. Let me see if I can do a little bit of a scaled version. They did upgrade a couple of folks today, and let me see if I can get this into a bigger view for you. All right, so the original moderate risk zone, which is that bright ass red shit that you see up there, that was a lot smaller and concise. And when it got added today, it added a little bit further south into the southeast that has now got pretty much all of the southern part of Missouri, except the one part of the Boot Hill there that is still in the enhanced risk. But the setup that has continued to evolve over the day has definitely given a little bit more pause to the forecasters that are keeping an eye on it. And with it coming as far south as it did, I can see why the Storm Prediction Center, went ahead and went as far south, basically covering almost the entire enhanced area for the categorical region of where those polys are for going ahead and issuing that risk out. If you have or have not seen the tornado probabilities, these look fucking ugh. That's like some take your ass to the clinic after you came home from Vegas shit. The new legend that the SPC has this year is pretty neat, and this is the first time that we are in the second level of intensity for the tornado watches. And this applies both to tornado, hail, and wind, but for this specifically, formerly, if you're familiar with these maps or you're familiar with watching us over the course of time and showing these maps over and over, that hatched region that you see in the brown area and as wide as it is, they never had intensity levels to it. It was basically, it could be real big and broad and wide, and that was just an enhanced area where you could have a risk of your more severe events such as EF2 and aboves, and and baseball hail and above, 2-inch diameter hail and above for those things, or significant straight line winds even up to 60, 65 plus, rather than your normal run of the mill lower end things that just barely meet the severe threshold. Now they have 3 levels of intensity for the hatched region. And again, this is the first time that we have found ourselves in the second level. So this is going to get confusing with the amount of different levels. And if you know me, you already know I hate the way that broadcast Mets put out that enhanced is a level 3 out of 5, because there is truthfully no difference. We can have some level 5 shit end up in a level 2 day. Ask Nashville. It happened to them not too long ago when they were on a marginal risk day and had, a twister flatten the shit out of the east side of the city. So I hate that system gets used, but sometimes it is the clearest way. Unfortunately, now there's another one. So even though you may hear that we're in a level 3 out of 5 day, now you've got a whole different level 1 through 3 intensity, threshold here for something different. So again, first time that we have seen this since the new Legend products come out. So tornadically, our risk from this system that's about to come through, we are south of the 15% line, but we're pretty much well embedded into the 10. The way that this map works specifically is put your finger on any spot of any of the one colors. So red, for example, red equals 15. Any spot where you put your finger inside that red circle, that means that there's a 15% chance of a tornado-related event, not necessarily one on the ground, but an event. So funnel cloud that gets warned, etc. Any of those, a 15% chance of that happening within 25 miles of anywhere within that spot. So technically, that's a 15% chance for that entire poly, and then 25 miles extended out of anywhere within, the outside of that poly. So that 25 miles, that might reach, the northernest parts of Tippecanoe County, but rest, just by looking at it, the 10% is going to be the closest mark there. Miss Rachel, I'll get to you as far as timing, because truthfully, I haven't even looked at that part yet, and it's all wildly fluid. Just to not necessarily focus on the tornadic aspect of it, wind is going to be also a fairly high risk event here. Sorry, let's me. And I'm using Firefox today instead of Chrome because it's eating the shit out of the PC resources for some reason. Here's your win probability for this event as it gets ready to come through as well. The purple on this is 45%, so very exactly the same of how I just described the probability within the mileage radius and everything. That's pretty significant for a 45% chance of a wind-related event, which could be any straight line wind 58 miles an hour and above, because that's the criteria just to set off a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's where you're going to see a lot of your tree branch damage come down onto power lines, onto your cars, shit like that. So this, while you can argue, oh, well, this is going to be a wind event, or this is going to be more of a tornado event, this is going to be an event. We're just going to put it this way. Right now, multimodal, we've got threats. Hail, just as much here. Not as high as the wind probabilities, but we are well embedded in the 30% for hail. So everything that's about to come through here, here's what we need to, I guess, kind of take a look at right quick too. First, before I get into model guidance, let's actually take a look at the warning box itself, because I haven't really done a lot there yet. This right here, guys, wow. That the purple is the likelihood, and of course, purple is high. Those once every couple years, we'll see them purple across the board, but that's this is going to be an event. All right, so Tornado Watch 162 doesn't even have status reports yet, really. Yeah, they went ahead, they labeled it as a PDS. The primary threats, several tornadoes throughout that entire box likely, few intense likely, scattered hail likely, isolated very large hail up to 2.5. So that right there, at least if if the very large hail events up to 2.5, majority of folks probably might not even see golf ball. Again, these are going to be more supercell related threats that come through on this section to the north. The ones that were going to come through a little bit further to the south of us and could clip, we're basically in a sandwich here. The really bad shit to the north isn't going to necessarily all clump down into like a big squall line yet. They're going to have more supercell problems, while the more threats to the south of us were going to be more of like squall line style problems. And we are basically going to catch the northern end of that while catching the southern end of the worst shit that's going to be up to the north. But that goes through 11 o'clock tonight. Now, let me go look at model guidance right quick. And this will give you everybody that's already bugging me about time. Fuck, I don't know. If I knew that, I would be betting on the poly market. Might be able to make some money off of what's that shit called? Kalshi? Is it going to rain today? I don't know. I don't know. Auntie Nature stopped talking to me. Look, a lot of people say I talk to God all the time. I don't talk to Auntie Nature. She and I are not necessarily the closest of allies here. All right. This is the latest model guidance for HRRR, and I'm going to go through I'll probably just go through this in the NAM just so I'm not wasting everybody's time. But let's see. 3, 2. So that's going to be 4. All right. So the latest run already is, of course, a few hours old. This shows 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock, you start to see more initiation really kind of come up through Arkansas. If you forgive me a second, I wanted to come over here just to make sure that nothing has popped up while I'm bullshitting over here. Because I could see that happening. I start bullshitting with y'all on model guidance and then, oh shit. All right. So real time, actually, nothing is on the radar that has already popped up supercell wise in Arkansas or anything like that. So while we hold that thought, the last model run of the HRRR does feel that the initiation, a supercell could pop off at any moment, anywhere as far down as south of Little Rock, all the way as far northeast as Jackson. So, and again, this is one model. I'm going to show you another one that completely disagrees with this here in a second, and that was on my last video as well. So now we're looking at, this is 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8, 9, 10, 11, midnight tonight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And at this point, I would think that you guys in DeSoto and whatnot down in Mississippi would already likely be under a watch at that point, which would probably likely include us too, and cut off probably within around the Tipton or the Lauderdale County side there. So this is that takes us to 6 a.m. in the morning. As you see, it kind of clears up a little bit by then, but there is threats tomorrow as well. I'm going to move over to the NAM, the high resolution NAM model, which is my second favorite short range. And we're going to see what it says just for compile. Wow. Okay. So it thinks that initiation is going to happen right on top of us any minute. Wow. So that's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. No, that can't be right. Well, that's 4. Is this the latest? Damn, that is the latest run too. All right. Well, let's entertain it then. Obviously, that initiation has not happened yet, but NAM seems to lean towards that happening, and then moving at what, maybe about a 15-degree arc. So So anywhere, true. I don't like that. I don't like that mostly because of the uncertainty that comes with it. When we're trying to pinpoint where initiation is going to happen, it really kind of this is what makes liars out of a lot of people who do this shit because somebody's going to get a hell of a wind and a hailstorm and maybe get a small little tornado warning here or there, and then 99% of you aren't going to see shit, and you're going to be like, you overhyped shit. I will tell you this. What I'm looking at now, this is the supercell composite. This is a parameter that takes about 19, actually more like 4, different things into consideration, and it spits out a number. 15 and above is a solid number. We're sitting at about 13 right now. And all this is this just basically tells us how ripe the atmosphere is for supercell formation. And, basically, if a supercell is in an environment that it can continue its life cycle, grow, and mature into the later ends of its life cycle, that, of course, is where, it's looking for the bullseye. It's looking for where to where to actually get in and find the instability that it needs to grow and be big, mean, and scary and shit like that. You see a little bit later in the day. This is 3, 4. So this is 4 p.m. right here. Again, this model is just a few hours older, but this is a 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. You start really, we're 25, slows down to about 20. And then by midnight, it mostly clears out. But again, this specific data right here does not show that, oh shit, it's going to be bad here. It just simply means that all of the atmospheric conditions for supercells to, be plentiful and bountiful and be able to grow into something significant. That's consider this the octane of gas. Okay, so you want shit to be powerful. You get the 93. Well, we're 25 is significant enough to get anybody's attention. I truthfully start paying attention around 15. So the air clearly has more than enough of the ingredients needed to promote those type of cells being in the environment and propagating. I will, just to humor myself, look at the STB. This is basically one step further. This is called the significant tornado parameter. Those numbers go on a scale of 1, usually around 8, 9. 9's like gigantic. We top out about a 4, which that's so at least the models are agreeing right now that as far as the timing on when it would be the most ripe is probably going to be about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And a lot of factors can change that. If any rogue cell on the radar pops up right now, which still doesn't look like anything is anywhere, according to this, am I even on the Memphis radar? I am. That any cell that comes through here could very wildly and very quickly stabilize the atmosphere and throw all of this, not all of it, but throw a chunk at this. So I'm going to I don't like this one, but if it gives us any indication as to, because now truthfully, I mean, the shear's bountiful, the cape, the amount of instability was sitting at around 3,000 earlier, but right now it's just when does initiation start, where, So even here, so this is the rapid. This is I talk about the rapid refresh, the HRRR. This is like its legacy version. This is the lower resolution rapid refresh model. It has a little bit of it has a little bit of probably clusters of small cells, like as you would see like right here and right here. Even though it's linked, this probably wouldn't be one linked cell. This would probably just be one up here and one down here. That likely didn't even connect as far as like a percept shaft or anything like that. This is still 3. Yeah, that I was looking at a model 3 hours old. Guys, that timing doesn't agree with any of the other 3 things. So for everybody asking me what time, I can't tell you. I'm not even going to try to tell you. The only way we're going to have any idea of what time anybody could see anything is by people being glued to this map, which, oh, look, they drew the miso discussion, in the form of like a sideways heart. Oh, I don't know. The NAM tells me something different. HRRR tells me something different. Legacy rapid refresh tells me something different. One of them says it should already be hailing its ass off. So I truthfully, I don't know. If somebody, there might be a broadcast met on TV somewhere that'll be like, well, I know exactly when it's going to rain. Cool story, bro. Tell us. But until some of this either breaks through, either there's a strong gas cap in place, and I didn't even look at that because I'm just sitting here bullshitting with myself. Let's go there. It doesn't look interesting. It doesn't look that doesn't look that crazy until this starts. There's really no truthful way to know, and the squall line that'll come in behind it. So the model guidance, at least out of the 3 of them, believe that somewhere in here is where everything will start to cluster up. And as it continues further south, been on it all day, I ain't missing shit. A lot of people aren't, but that's all right. But I'm unlike most other people. I'm not going to sit here and try to be Larry the Entertainer. I got shit to do. But like I said, as soon as I saw that it went PDS, I was like, ooh, fuck. As I was saying though, this is going to likely cluster up probably 9-10 o'clock at night or so. Anything that does like, all right, as bad as this sounds, think of this kind of like acne on your face. All right, there could be 3, like let's say you have a breakout. Let's say you've got like 5, 6, 7 just hardcore ass like supercells that are all in front of this fucking line, and the environment's right for them. Okay, those are going to be those would be much higher intensity, and they're going to be well spread out. The likelihood of one of those coming over you in any given spot, wherever you are in the city or the county or whatnot, are going to be lower compared to when and if we start seeing just small itty bitty cells that, all cluster up like this right here and shit, right? So if we see this, if we see the small clustering, and those may be a little bit intense, but they're all going to fight for the same energy. They're all going to fight for the same instability that's up in the atmosphere, right? It's all of these big sumbitches that are going to be well spread out. If you see those on the radar in between, like me leaving and not coming back for a while, those are the ones to probably be a little bit more concerned about overall, as far as like when something is either going to be in your path or on the way or something like that. Because the further there is of like space between all of those comparative to, these clusters that are all really close together, me really wrong tool, but yeah, cells that are a good 40 miles apart from each other, they're going to be able to do a lot more, because they're not going to have smaller cells or adjacent cells 20 miles and 10 miles next to it basically fighting for the same instability. So Miss Jessica, I did look at at those. I will go back and actually look at a few more if you'd like, but I can't answer why they're not popping. As a matter of fact, I didn't even, if you noticed a second ago, I didn't even say much of shit when I looked at the cap in general, because it said the exact ass opposite of what should be of what should be happening. And I don't like it when I start making comments that may absolutely come back on me like, hey, fuck, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm talking about for the most part, but that shit don't look like I know what I'm talking about today. So this right here is one of your better models to see like what the difficulty is of a storm reaching all that super cold ass air up in the atmosphere. And this is 6 p.m. 5, 4. Okay, so there's a little bit there. 3, 4, 5. This alone should make us sit there and question why that didn't happen yet. Just initiation's fickle, and it's so much harder the further east you go. Like, if anything, if there was going to be Kalshi betting on the poly market, I bet they could get it down to a science. If this was happening in Oklahoma, and the dry line was so plainly, fearfully obvious, it's like playing, darts at Mulligan's and not being drunk and actually being good at darts. It's like I can pinpoint exactly where I'm going to put this sumbitch. The further east you go, with all the different factors that we have here, initiation is a lot harder to kind of pinpoint. And the next thing you know, because all this warm ass air, man, it hits different. It just hits different all the way out here than it does in those plains. And the first person that says, well, yeah, it hits different because there's a goddamn pyramid there, I'm gonna fucking slap you. It hits different because there's a bluff. It don't come from that way. Come on, fellas. Come on. Oh, Miss Michelle, how are you? I just say you popped up there. If not, for anything, this ain't you blowing my phone up, is it? I don't think you have that number. Guys, this entire thing is also helped brought to you by Miss Michelle Tracy, who just popped out there in the comments. That is her photo that you see there on the screen there next to that QR code. She does insurance. She does auto. She does the house. She no shit saved me about $2,200 when State Farm jacked my shit up for having to file a hail claim 3 years ago. Please, please, it costs absolutely nothing to get your shit quoted, and Auntie Nature likes to tear shit up. So, Fireball on a dashboard, or a dartboard, yes. Maybe something stronger than Fireball. I don't know you. I'm an '82 baby, so I don't deal well with Fireball. I have to go to Goldschlager, where where gold flakes are probably still on my liver somewhere. Steven, don't get hit. Don't get hit. Let me scroll up, see if anybody said anything else that I needed to maybe take a look at, though, because you guys also know me. I'm not going to sit here and just bullshit to bullshit. Let's see. Looks like they're going to drop another watch for the rest of the Mid-South. Yeah, absolutely. And that will not be a PDS watch at all, Danny. The only reason we are in a PDS watch is because the conditions to the north of us 1000% support being in and being labeled as PDS. So everything that you see happening even now, I see 1, 2, 3 polys, within 4 different sectors just on the screen right now. So that area, absolutely no qualms about it. But they can't necessarily, they're not going to break up and just put, all right, you have a watch right here, you have a watch, but we're not going to put the labeling on you. We deserve to be in a watch based on where we are at. That does not mean that we necessarily need that PDS labeling. As you saw, we are on the absolute furthest southernmost. Here, I think I've got the map. No, but yeah. So the technicality of that, being labeled PDS, we are as far south as you can go. So that also means we are the furthest away from the conditions that have made that watch, go live and be possible. So with that, we are labeled PDS. I'm not saying that we necessarily should or shouldn't, because I'm not going to question the guys that did that. The fact of the matter is we are in a PDS tornado watch. We deserve to be watched right now based off of the conditions alone for initiation to occur instantly, rapidly, within seconds. Like once it starts, is Laura Jean somewhere? Because I got one of my actual cats that is going crazy over here. Anyway, yeah, the we absolutely should be in a watch. It's earlier than I anticipated, but yeah, because of the area and the conditions to the north of us needing to be labeled PDS for the junk that's up there, you will not hear me qualm in the least little bit for any of the broadcast Mets that, not even broadcast, any of the actual, science and government Mets that have a lot more data than all of us do at the desk. Drew, just go ahead and sleep through it. Yes. If they would ever send me some advertisement money, I would wholeheartedly be the face of Lunesta. Just sleep through that entire son of a bitch. So, Steve, that would be herpes. Yeah. Yeah. We like going to the clinic for shit we can get rid of, Miss April, thank you for the best answers. It's okay not to know. Well, yeah, then I'm glad it's good, because there's a lot of not knowing today. Miss Fisher, is alcohol needed to make it through the night? It's not needed. I mean, it depends on how well your coping skills are. If your coping skills are, of excellent caliber, you could make it through. If they suck ass and you also don't have anything awesome like benzos, then, you know, a little mini a jack or something like that doesn't hurt anybody. Or five. Or going to the bar when this is all done. So you let me know. Just tell us the future. I bet Ron would know the answers, man. There's nothing better than like when when Ron gets on a Ron kick and then like blows it out and calls like a surface low, like on air right there, like with what little bit of like, because he's got great access to data, but for the most part, when he's on air, he is literally just at the primary screen that's getting broadcast. He's not like me or anybody that like gets to have like, I mean, when you're on the broadcast, when you're on the green screen, not that I know because I don't work as broadcast Matt, but you can polish the resume maybe. But if you're on the green screen, you don't get to look at the 19 screens I have of like data everywhere. And Ron could call that shit awesomely. I'm last April, some of his best work. What is the estimated start time? I wish I knew. Let's put it this way. There's likely going to be a squall line that comes through anytime between like 9 and midnight, but I'm nowhere near as worried about that coming through as I am anything that could happen like right now that you don't see on the radar. Miss Christie, PDS. PDS stands for particularly dangerous situation. It is a wording that the National Weather Service puts out whenever they need to put extra emphasis on a regular product. Like there's a tornado watch where there could also be a tornado warning. But with a tornado watch, sometimes in our area, a lot of tornado watches happen and some need more emphasis and focus on them than others. Today is one of those days. Not as much for us in Shelby County, but for the rest of the watch area that's to the north of us, they need that labeling today. Brandon Cole, hey brother man, just joined. I'm sorry, that was like 5 minutes ago. Don't know if you're still on because I'm going upwards and not downwards. Looking at the comments, but if you are still here, Southeast Memphis is looking as glorious as Northwest, Memphis. Here at Harpo's, we are. Truthfully, you're at as much risk as anywhere else. Wherever anything decides to drop will be, wherever shit goes down. Get you some MD 2020 Maine. Come on. Allstate is great, and they are the easiest. I hope I don't have to file any claims on them, but if Miss Michelle, look, me and the fam already had to call Michelle once. It was like had a blowout, and I thought I put roadside on the car, and I didn't, like a dumbass. But it's like, how do I access my roadside? Well, first, Trey, you have to put it on your fucking policy. Yes, ma'am. So, yes, Drew, he is. Ron and Joyce has been, they've been long time item. Love them both. I will, although I have not had the pleasure of meeting, I've met Ron kind of like just in brief at like events out and about, whatnot over the years. I've never had the pleasure of meeting Miss Joyce, but literally like the day that I watched her tear up while on the air reporting after the one guy that went on Facebook Live and was committing the acts, heinous acts that he was while on Facebook Live throughout the city, and watching her use the words that Memphis is tired, literally tears to my eyes. If a girl needs Girl needed journalism awards on that one. So, Miss Abby, any thoughts of Toka Mumford? We're all at the same amount of risk. Millington, Mumford, Atoka, Brighton. Well, let me actually put it this way: the more north you are, the slightly higher your intensity risk is. Not necessarily your risk of something happening, but the intensity of what could occur will go up as you go further north. So, guys, I'm not going to sit here and continue just bullshitting without there being anything at all happening here. I've been with you for about 45 minutes now. If usually for those that are new to my style of delivery and the dim weather of Memphis, I'm not going to come on the air even if it's just like a severe thunderstorm warning or something like that. It has to be it has to be enough for me to try to get your attention. There's already 100 broadcast stations, 100 apps, 100, other people that are vying for your attention. I'm not trying to vie for your attention if it's not necessary to do so. I will never be live if there is something going on and it's not critical for me to do so. This doesn't really count because I'm more in analysis mode right now and not reaction mode. But in reaction mode, like, just because a severe thunderstorm warning crosses over into the city doesn't usually mean that, that we're all going to fucking die. So with that being said, if conditions warrant, I will come back live. So just also, there is if you go to, I don't know how it looks because, if you own the page looks differently, but if you go to the page on Facebook on either your phone or your desktop, there is like a chat channel. It's a one-way channel that allows me to send out like chat style messages, and it comes to your messenger. So if you want to get instant messages from me, and I kind of use that channel like as events as they occur, when we're actually in reaction mode, you can go and sign up for that in the channel. But other than that, like I said, I'm not going to just sit and bullshit your time. Besides, it is already 5:00, and for some of you, you need to go ahead and get out of where you're going and go to the bar, because the bar will drink without you, and you don't want that. You want to be there, with your folks. So, guys, I love you. You mean more to me than you will ever realize. I appreciate each and every one of you for having faith and having confidence in the abilities of what I do and calling it like it is. So if I need to be back, I will be. If not, go enjoy the rest of your day. Miss Michelle, I will let you know whenever I decide to take my fucking sleeping pills. So that way you can too. Y'all have a great rest of your afternoon. I hope I don't see you again, but unfortunately I have a feeling that I'm done.